also would like to apologize to the fire department and the town board for my lack of knowledge, not knowing what my responsibilities to you all. I'm still learning. And also want to thank the board for letting me, the town board for letting me have an office in the town hall. It's very helpful to me as well as the citizens because it's supposed to be the kind of neutral place over there. Okay, after talking to the lawyer and learning a lot of things I didn't know and still need to know, our lawyer recommended that we, the advisory board, agreed that we need to talk to give you concerns and issues that we're having in the township. So I'm just gonna go through a list and we can address them or however you want. This is not a decision-making meeting. This is an informal meeting to let you know what our concerns and our issues are. So, we need to get first out of our 99-year lease. There's 52 years left on it. If we don't get a clear vision of we own it, which we do own it, but we are under lease and we agree to that.
You're referring to the building, right?
The building, yes. It is in, we had in April, we had an inspector come and give us an idea what the building needed and if it was worth saving or whatever, use it. There were many codes that were not up to date. When the electric was put in, it was not done right. Behind the electrical plates, it's terrible. I have got, the building is deteriorating, it's being used as a storage shed, not for what it was intended to. I've displayed pictures, I won't pass it around. This is what your fire station looks today, and that. And this picture worth 1,000 words, so I'll pass it on. If there any questions, I'd be glad to entertain them.
Got it upside down, Mike, keep reading that way and look at it.
The electrical, the ceilings are coming down, the electrical, panels are a mess. You can see where the birds have been dropping their little treats for us. And, it's just bad shape. Right now it's got you guys, the fire department, the town hall, they're using it as a shed, which, you know, I don't blame them if it's there, why not use it? But it's not gonna help us if we have to sell the property. The fire contract we have signed, expires in July. And, we've noted many breaches in the issues of the contract. We'll go through them in a few minutes to let you know that what we've been working on is this past year and continue is like I said, we're planning to sell the station if we can get a clear vision on that. We're planning to sell the tanker truck that's being housed in the current building. We're planning to sell the half acres that we found out we owned just a year ago on Dunker's Pike. It was given to the township for a school, and we may even consider making it a township graveyard, because who wants to have an acre out in the middle of nowhere, and it's not gonna do us any good, and not for the township.
You're talking about the engine that's at the highway station now?
Pardon?
You're talking about the fire engine that's out there?
Yes. You know, if there's liable for that.
Yeah, that's, Richard Eater bought that from Franklin Township and never done anything with it.
As trustee, I'm trying to become a notary so that I can give free service to any resident of Wayne Township. And of course, on the side, it would be anyone that would wanna come and not Wayne, that basically for Wayne, so that it would get community service I can offer. If I pass the test, we're in the process. We also are, in a dialogue with, Dr. John Brown. He, has a place out on Hollybrook Road. He would like to restore the Goth and Alexander cemeteries. And he wants to know if we can help him in any way, the township, financially or any other way. We're in the process of this dialogue, talking with him, nothing's been settled or anything. But, we would like to start a financial fund to help maintain them. And he has a very family connection to those cemeteries. And we do know where they're located. Okay, we can move into the, breach of contract for the lease. I do have copies of the lease if anyone wants one.
Did you say breach of contract?
We received no payment for 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24, but did receive a check November 13th for $5, which included year 20, 21, and 25. So they have made that up since we have talked. The name has been changed. It is no longer the Wayne Harrison Montgomery Fire Department. It is now Gosport Volunteer Fire Department, is that correct?
Yes.
The name was changed in 2008. We don't know who changed it, but we do know why they changed it. I can read very briefly why they changed it. It was actually a good move, not for legalities and everything, but for the people in the township. It was actually very good that they did it. I'll read that. This is a quick reference sheet of the history and the trustees' responsibilities. Formed in 1972, served Wayne, Harrison, and Montgomery Township, operated as a joint volunteer fire department, name retired in 2008, merged into Gosport Volunteer Fire Department. 2008 consolidation, Wayne, Harrison, Montgomery Volunteer Fire Department, and Gosport Volunteer Fire Department merged. The WHM, which is Wayne, Harrison, Montgomery, the name discontinued. All operations moved under Gosport Volunteer Fire Department. Service area unchanged. Fire protection continued without interruption. Consideration improved staffing. Reduced duplication of equipment. Unified training and operations. Strengthened emergency responses. Streamlined administrations. Trustees' responsibilities unchanged by merger. Provide fire protection under the Indiana Code 36-813. Approve the fund fire service. Sign and oversee fire contracts. Ensure adequate staffing and equipment. Monitor performance and compliance. Who has authority today? Township trustees, full legal authority. Township boards, budget approval. Gosport Fire Department, service provider only. Town of Gosport, no authority over township fire contracts. Fire chief, operational authority only. Key takeaway, Wayne Harris Montgomery name ended in 2008. Trustee legal duties did not change and township remains fully responsible for fire protection oversight. So, I have a copy if anyone would like it, they can have one. It's quite interesting the way they did it, and I really think they did a good, I mean, I think it was all for good reasons. I mean, I think they had good reasons about it. So I have no problem with that.
2008, that's awesome.
We just did not find any documentation other than through history that it was changed in 2008, other than they all have their own bank accounts now, we assume, and that's really odd. If you read, is there anyone, would someone like, I have copies of the lease if everyone, anybody would want any.
Copy of the what?
The lease.
I would.
Just pass that around and, it takes one. I think I had that. You want that yellow? No. I got it.
Okay. Oh, they're all highlighted.
Oh,
So there's.
yeah, I've been writing a lot. Everybody gets one.
What's that?
Police.
1974.
That's 75.
August of 74? 74. Received September of 74.
One's August and one's September.
Which everybody gets one.
Would you?
We have the original leases in the safety deposit box, in the bank, these are all copies. We also found out we had the abstract, which was very interesting. I'd like to refer to 8 and 10, 9 and 10. Basically, what we're basing our understanding is, on number 9, it is mutually understood and agreed that should the Wayne Harrison Volunteer Fire Department Incorporation cease to function or cease to exist, that this lease shall at once become void unless the lender shall consent to the assignment of this lease. 10, at the termination of this lease, the leasee shall surrender the premises with all buildings erected thereon and additions thereto in such repair and condition as shall be in accordance with the convenience covenant herein. And that's what we base our conclusion on, the lease has been broken, because it's no longer, as in 2008, remained at the Wayne Harrison Township, Montgomery Township. That was in consideration. Basically what we've come up with, our lawyer is in agreement.
Who's your lawyer? Who's your attorney?
Caroline Riley, Spencer.
Who's that?
Caroline Riley, or Spencer.
Caroline Riley.
And like I said, this is not a decision making, this is just a fact finding and us sharing our opinions and everything. You go to the contract, the fire contract. I have copies of that, if anybody wants it also. I have copies if anybody wants one. You have it? Anybody else want one? This session is not to blame any one person. It is a combination of a group that become the Gosport Fire Department. So it's a blanket issue. It's not one person's fault. It's or at least I don't think they are. But see, fire department has not provided us with list of members and their certificates before March first of each year. As of 2020, we have received none. 2, we have asked since 2020 for a year-end financial report. It's our legal right and responsibility to ask for that. We have not received any at this date. Fire department must provide monthly reports of fire runs, emergency runs. We have not received any as of yet, since 2020. We have not been provided documentation that hoses and ladders must be tested with the NPA 1962 OSHA standards. We have not received any documentation in our office as such. By the law, Indiana Code 36-8-13, by law, townships can withhold all contract payments for non-compliance. We'll turn to page 9, on 9. Back to the fire hose. Our board last year decided that we would pay up to $3,000 to either help with the testing or buy new hose for the fire department, go toward that purchase. As of last Tuesday, we met again, revised our commitment. We are very willing to pay all expenses to have an outsourced fire department company who does this for a living to come in and check our hoses and to check the ladders. Those are all under the NFPA 1962. They have to be done yearly. The fire department does have the right and can perform it on their own, but they must document very, very, very strictly for what they're doing and how to do it. There are, by having an outsourced company doing it, we know it's gonna be done correctly. It's gonna take responsibility of us documenting it correctly to meet up with compliance. So it actually protects the town, the residents of Wayne Township, all 3 trustees township, and the fire department. So it actually, everybody benefits for having this done correctly. And, like I said, they can do it themselves, there's no problem, but it needs to be done yearly, and we want that done yearly. And it's not being done, hasn't been done with documentation. I'm not saying it hasn't been done, but not documented that has been done, which is supposed to be in my office and the other trustee's office every year. I do have several companies, and I'm sure the fire department are familiar with them. It is Waterway and FireCat. Those recognize the names. I did do some research. The estimate cost range is 25 cents to 35%, 25 cents to 35% standard NFPA 1962. And a ladder costs $1 to $2 per ladder.
Ladder testing's been done every year.
We've not received anything in our office, and it's supposed to be to us. And I've not received anything since 2020. We did find out the R3 tanks that were given to us. There are two 6,000 gallon tanks and one 14,000. Excuse me, one 4,000, that's unfair. And we're going through the history, the reason we wanted the notes and the minutes from that were in our building that were taken out, and brought back to us, which we appreciate. We did research with them, and just for public notice, they paid to have those tanks filled at 1.5 cents a gallon.
What tanks are you referring to?
The tanks at the fire department.
There is no tanks at the fire. And EPA come down and took all the tanks out of the ground.
Do you have documentation for that, sir?
That was all done through the state. The state's the one contacted me, said they were taking them out.
Do you guys have any?
They didn't give us anything. The state took it all out.
That's great, that's good for
The
everybody.
only thing the state didn't take out is there's a 500-gallon tank underneath the floor of the back building where the truck's parked. That's the only tank that's left out there.
That's the reason it's all gravel out front.
Yeah, the state EPA come down and took all that out.
Well, that sounds good, because that was one of our concerns, is we didn't want to sell a building and have that hang over our head, and how we don't want to,
Yeah,
we
the
know
state-
precautions. so that-
State come down and pumped all those out, or EPA come down and pumped all those out and took all those tanks out of the ground.
Do you guys have any documentation of that?
I never received anything.
That was back when right here, something, wasn't it?
Yeah. That was back in the old,
Because I couldn't find anything in the minutes that we have in our possession that stated that they were taken out, or anybody was contacted or anything, so.
yeah, that was all IDM stuff that was handed to us.
The guy that did your inspection said that the oil company who filled them has to, by law, have a report. So I'm in the process of trying to go back years ago and find that documentation from
I would
you.
contact IDM, cause they're the ones that took all that out.
That's great, better off for all of us if it's not there. So, that's all we have right now to share. If there's any questions, I can entertain them, as best as our knowledge I can give you.
If you, I'm Terry English, I'm the attorney for the town. If you get this, property back under the lease, is it your intention to sell that property
Yes.
commercially?
Very quickly. We have to get to, by law, we have, oh gosh, it's an endless procedure to sell government property. My understanding, and I stand to be corrected if I'm wrong, that we have to have 2 appraisals.
Right.
And the board first has to agree to sell, which we pretty much have. And, then it proceeds from there, and you get bids, and you take the highest bidder, or you can either do bids or silent bids. either. And so it's a long process. But I would personally like to see the money use the money for the fire department, and actually put the
Have
money
you had any
into.
offers on that property?
We've not advertised.
No offers.
I have had an individual personal offer,
Okay.
but no one's come forward as a group or anyone. That's all I can tell you. Then really I can't discuss that with them because it's not for sale.
So first, if he's gonna sell it, then you take bids, seal bids.
Well, if you do seal builds, I'm not quite sure on the process, I have it written down, but yes, it's did by bids. And we just take that's one. I do
When you
have.
say that want this to be given to the fire department, are you talking about the Gosport Volunteer Fire Department for use and erection of a building, or?
That's not being determined, we don't know, but that we want to protect the citizens of Plain Township, is our utmost importance. And if that is possibly helping with that, yes. I'm not saying no or yes, because I do not know because the building's not for sale yet. I don't wanna be vague, but I don't wanna say something I don't know.
And your board and your attorney are willing to sue the town of Gosport over this lease for $5, is that right?
No, sir, we do not wanna sue nobody, we do not wanna go to court, we just want it graciously to be given a way out. That would benefit all citizens.
The easiest way to do it is on page 4 of the fire contract, under 5 of the building lease stuff, is just take out that they lease us the equipment, they just don't lease us the building or the real estate. And then that turns the property back over to her.
I'm not sure on that.
Cause the only thing we'll be leasing at that point would be the tanker, which is, we're using. And the only thing that takes out the real estate, that means the building could go back to her.
I guess,
We do not want to sue nobody or take nobody for it, we want what's best for the citizens, that's all I can say. That's not our intention to blame any one person or anything, just as a group responsibility of what's wrong, as we have to take responsibility for the state.
Wouldn't that be the easiest way to solve that issue, Terry?
what's that?
Wouldn't that be the easiest way to solve that, just take the lease out, or the building lease out of the contract, so that we're not leasing the real estate, we're just leasing the equipment?
Well, that would be fine, I mean, quite honestly, the easiest way to do this is to say, you can have your property back, we're done with fire protection for your township. Quite honestly, you were not part of it, but whenever they approached us initially, basically, we agreed to fire protection for the surrounding townships because they didn't have the financial wherewithal to provide it themselves. And we gave everybody what we believe to be a bargain basement rate just to try to get you protection. I guess if we're gonna, my concern is that if you're gonna take the property back and you're gonna sell that property and not use it for the benefit of fire protection here, then my inclination, and perhaps the board's, is to just say, we'll provide fire protection as we're obligated to do within the corporate limits of the town of Gosport, and be done with this contract, including the one for your particular township, because we're clearly not making any money, and I'm not sure we're even covering costs for $9,000 a year. And I don't, so I guess it's just gonna have to, since we have a contract coming up for renewal, I guess it's just gonna have to be a question set as to how everybody tries to approach this. My recommendation would be, possibly to the board is, transfer the property back to the township with the proviso that any funds generated from the commercial sale of that property be used for the construction of a fire building here in the town of Gosport, and that we extend to you the courtesy of providing you with fire service out of that for whatever period of time that everybody can agree. Again, I don't know that this, I'm sure that you're doing what you believe is in everybody's best interest, and I think we will as well.
Well, I think, personal, and I know you're not supposed to give your opinion, there's issues and facts, but we want fire protection for everybody. And by selling the building, we hope to use that, in my understanding, the board can correct me, but we want to use it for the fire, but until we have an actual meeting and vote on it, I cannot say that's up.
I understand that, but I guess whenever we do this, what it would be an agreement between the town board here and the advisory board of the township and you as a trustee, that whenever those funds are in fact generated, that they would have to go to that, we would have a contract to that effect that would be enforceable, so everybody's on the same page.
Sounds good to me. Can't see any problem with that, I just can't say yes or no to the thing.
I'm sure you can.
That's all I have, unless anyone else has anything else they'd like to entertain at this time for concerns or issues.
I'm gonna address some of your concerns. The name change, Wayne Harrison, was not changed. Wayne Harrison Fire Department was dissolved. The township trustees contracted to the Wayne Harrison Memory Fire Department. When the trustees decided to pull from the Wayne Harrison Fire Department and go to the town of Gosport, the name of Wayne Harrison Memory Fire Department was dissolved, and Wayne Harrison Fire Department was therefore non-existent after 2008, because it was contracted to the town of Gosport. So the name change wasn't changed, it was the whole fire department was dissolved because the trustees contracted to the town instead of to the fire department.
So you're saying it was dissolved?
Yes. As far as the stuff that you're wanting, as far as members and stuff, correct me if I'm wrong, Terry, but when you contract with the town, you have no obligation to the fire department other than the town has an obligation to provide fire protection to you as a township. That means that you're not responsible trying to figure out how to work. You're not responsible for basically the operation or the financials or the testing or none of that. Am I?
Then why is it Indiana Code 36-8-13 state that?
I don't know, well, I'd have to look at this code, cause I don't know, if I've read it down here, but that's the impression I'm under, am I correct, Terry?
At the time that this contract was put into force, there existed at that time, and continued to exist for a long period of time, a misunderstanding that the Gosport Volunteer Fire Department was a standalone unit that basically generated some income, and basically dealt at an arm's length with the town board. When in fact, as I've said before, and I'll continue to say, that's not the case. The fact is that the fire department operates under the guise of the town board, and the town board makes all the determination. This particular agreement basically was put together 15 years ago or 20 years ago, at a time when the perception was still that you were operating as an independent unit, and that's not in fact the case. I think that what we have is and should have is a fire department that operates, that provides training and manpower and such things, and we provide equipment, and whatever we do with regards to the fire department is set forth here. But then our contract with the townships doesn't call upon the townships to perform any of the duties that the town of Gosport should be providing. And that includes providing us with money for hoses or anything else. We thank you for that offer, but that's not your duty. And I think that if we're going to continue the relationship with your township, we need to be much more specific the next time we do this, and not do an add-on to this, that we will do a contract directly with your township, setting forth what your duties and what your responsibilities are, and a responsibility for timely payments. And we can argue about the $5 not getting paid, but we can also argue about the second half of the money's not getting paid this past year. But let's get past that. I guess what we really need to do is not be pointing fingers at this point in time. What we need to be doing is figuring out how we can cooperate in terms of generating the monies that it takes to give us a level of quality fire protection, which we can then extend to the townships if you care to continue to deal with this. And I think moving forward, there can be a lot of finger pointing in the past. We've been over half a dozen fire departments, and at least that many town boards. And the only consistent thing here is I've been here for 21 years, and I've seen it all come and go. And the bottom line is that I can see where there are problems, but as I said, I don't know that the town board, I don't want to speak for you, but I will, but that they necessarily want to hang on to that property out there. But what we don't wanna see is, we don't wanna see it sold commercially and not have the benefit of having better fire protection at a time when we're offering you bargain basement prices to provide it. So, you know, those are all things that we can talk about. We have 6 months to do that. I'm happy to deal with your attorney and, you know, do a new agreement subject to her approval, with the township prior to the expiration, if that's what the town board's pleasure is.
Our main concern is we want fire protection and safe, and we wanna use everything we can. I think I told to say this, and I apologize. We petitioned the state to give us an additional $15,000 for the fire fund, through taxes and everything. And my understanding, we've been approved. And so that should prove to you all, hopefully, that we are serious about committing to fire protection for our community. And it is not, like, it's not to blame on anyone. That is not the issue. The issue is to solve the problem and make sure we're all protected under the law, the codes, and the township. My personal feeling is, I don't know if this is a correct statement, but if something happens and we do not have documentation of standards being in compliance, that we can all stand to be very, very crucially persecuted for not having so. And that as far as making everything legal and above board and we do everything right, so that everything, for instance, if somebody's you go out on a run and the post fails because it had not been tested properly, that we all should be sued for whatever they wanna do. And we don't want that to happen. We don't want it to be sued. We don't want nobody to blame. And we're just offered that mainly to take the burden away from the department, because we know they are understaffed, they work hard, they do their job as best they can, and it's not our job to tear them down or build them up. We want to support them. And I just don't want.
We appreciate that.
We just want nothing to happen to nobody. And I don't know about you, but I like living in my house. I don't want to get sued. And I don't want
We
to-
appreciate that fact, but there's not a meeting that goes by that we don't look at this and say, we're woefully underfunded, and we're doing the best we can to keep a fire department equipped. If we can comply with the statute, that's what we'll do. But as a practical matter, sometimes that doesn't seem to be possible to do it.
As trustee, as long as I'm trustee, I will continue to support the fire department as much as I possibly can. And if I can give them all the money for the building, I would. I can't say that yes or no, because I'm not at liberty to say so at this time. But I just really can't believe anybody in this building right now would want anybody not to go to the fire department. I don't know if that's legal to say or not. That's just my personal view. I would support them to the hill financially, and we have in the past. I mean, as much as we paid for some parts last year. I even stopped the first year as trustee, and I don't know who I talked to in the fire department, can't remember at that time. But I said, is there anything we can do to help you guys? We got some money, what can we do? And they needed tires at that time, and we were gonna purchase tires for them. Well, something happened in the transition that they decided they didn't need it, or they needed something else. So I mean, we had been, as much as we possibly can. Last year, we blew our budget for the fire department. We were under budget, or over budget. That's why we asked for additional 15, so that we can continue to support as much as we can. And if we can sell that building and the board agrees to this, I personally think it's wonderful. Like I said, this is not a meeting to decide that. If anyone has anything else, last opportunity to say anything, meeting's adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Only thing I got, I just asked you all about the old turnout here, it's out there, the booths and stuff. What do you guys gonna do with them?
Y'all can have mine, so what we do.
If somebody's gonna sell them, I'll buy them.
I go back to the board and ask them, but I don't think, I up, so why you couldn't have it.
It's all outdated stuff.
I mean, that would be historical and whatever, yeah.
If I'd be willing to give a little something.
You give your time and your effort, that's good enough for me. But you got, you know, can't be both.
I just didn't want to take something to IRS.
Yeah, you got.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for the use of the pen.